Hey everyone, and welcome back to the eGreen channel. Today, we're diving deep into a story of ambition, power, and an epic quest that could reshape the Horn of Africa. We're talking about Ethiopia, a nation of over 120 million people, and its unfinished journey from the massive Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam to the strategic port of Assab. This isn't just about infrastructure. It's about a nation's dream of reclaiming its historical influence and securing its future. So, grab your Ethiopian coffee and let's get into it. First, let's talk about the GERD. This isn't just any dam. Towering over the Blue Nile, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam is a monumental symbol of national pride and a testament to modern Ethiopian engineering. For decades, Ethiopia watched as the Nile's waters flowed out of its highlands, benefiting downstream nations, while 60% of its own population faced electricity and energy shortages. The GERD changes that narrative completely. Financed 100% by the Ethiopian people themselves, it represents a declaration of self-reliance. Once fully operational, the dam will be the largest hydroelectric power plant in Africa, with a planned capacity of over 5 gigawatts. This is a game changer. It means Ethiopia can finally power its rapidly growing industries, light up millions of homes, and lift its people out of poverty. But the ambition doesn't stop at its borders. The plan is to transform Ethiopia into the water tower and power battery of East Africa, exporting surplus electricity to neighbors like Kenya, Sudan, and Djibouti. This energy diplomacy creates a web of interdependence, positioning Ethiopia as a central pillar of regional stability and economic growth. It's a powerful statement that Ethiopia is no longer just a recipient of aid, but a driver of development. However, this grand vision has a critical missing piece: direct access to the sea. This brings us to the second part of our story, the port of Assab. For a landlocked giant like Ethiopia, maritime access isn't a luxury, it's a lifeline. Historically, Ethiopia had a coastline and its own ports, including Assab. But after Eritrea gained independence in 1993, Ethiopia found itself without a sovereign port. Today, over 95% of its trade funnels through the port of Djibouti, a situation that creates both economic and strategic vulnerabilities. Imagine being one of Africa's fastest-growing economies. Yet your entire import-export machine depends on the goodwill and infrastructure of another nation. The fees are substantial, and the logistical bottleneck is a constant constraint on growth. This is why the idea of regaining access to a port, particularly Assab, has become a central theme in Ethiopian national discourse. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has been very vocal about this, framing it as an existential issue for Ethiopia's future prosperity and security. Assab, with its deep-water harbor and strategic location near the Bab el-Mandeb Strait at choke point 4, global trade is the ultimate prize. Now, let's connect the dots. How do the GERD's energy and Assab's port access fit together? They are two sides of the same coin, representing Ethiopia's quest for complete economic and strategic independence, a nation that can power its own industrial revolution. Thanks to the GERD needs efficient, affordable, and secure trade routes to get its products to the global market. Having its own port would slash transportation costs, boost competitiveness, and allow Ethiopia to control its own trade destiny. Think of it like this: the GERD is the engine, but Assab is the highway to the world. Without that highway, the engine can't reach its full potential. This integrated vision is about building a self-sufficient economic ecosystem. Energy from the dam fuels factories, and a dedicated port ships the goods. This synergy would not only supercharge Ethiopia's economy, but also solidify its position as a dominant regional power, capable of projecting both economic and political influence from the Nile Basin to the Red Sea. Of course, This journey is not happening in a vacuum. The regional dynamics are incredibly complex. Let's start with Egypt and Sudan. For them, the Nile is a matter of life and death, and they've watched the GERD's construction with deep anxiety, fearing it could reduce their water supply. Years of tense negotiations have highlighted the delicate balance between Ethiopia's development rights and the historical water security concerns of its downstream neighbors. While agreements on the dam's operation are still being ironed out, Ethiopia's energy diplomacy aims to sweeten the deal by offering cheap electricity, turning potential adversaries into economic partners. Then there's Eritrea, the 2018 peace deal between Ethiopia and Eritrea was a landmark moment, ending decades of conflict and sparking hope for renewed cooperation, including port access. However, the relationship remains complicated, influenced by internal politics and shifting regional alliances. Eritrea's President Isaias Afwerki holds the keys to Assab, and any deal would need to offer significant benefits to Asmara. We also can't ignore the influence of global and Gulf powers. The Red Sea is a crowded and strategic waterway. Countries like the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and even China have vested interests and military bases in the region. Ethiopia's quest for port access is being watched closely by these players, who are all vying for influence. Any move Ethiopia makes will have to be a masterclass in diplomacy, navigating these competing interests while forging alliances that support its national goals. So, where does this leave Ethiopia? The nation is at a pivotal crossroads, trying to balance its ambitious development goals with shrewd diplomacy and a strong defense posture. Achieving its vision requires more than just concrete and steel. It demands immense political will and strategic patience. The government must manage internal stability, navigate the treacherous waters of regional politics, and convince its neighbors that Ethiopia's rise is not a threat but an opportunity for shared prosperity. This is what makes Ethiopia's story so compelling. It's a high-stakes geopolitical drama unfolding in real time. Can Ethiopia complete this unfinished journey? Can it successfully link its energy wealth from the highlands to a maritime gateway on the Red Sea? The answer will determine not only the future of Ethiopia but the entire geopolitical landscape of the Horn of Africa. If successful, Ethiopia could create a new paradigm of regional integration, one where shared economic interests overcome historical rivalries. But if it fails, the region could face continued instability and competition over scarce resources. This journey, from the GERD to Assab, is the ultimate test of Ethiopia's modern statecraft. It's a bold gamble for a brighter future, and the whole world is watching to see how it plays out. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think Ethiopia can achieve its goals peacefully? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for sticking with eGreen channel through this deep dive. If you found this analysis insightful, please hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss our next video. We love exploring these complex global stories with you. Until next time, stay curious.